Today we're talking with Tommy Davis, president of Total Sports Recruiting. Tommy has an incredible background as a former Red Sox pitcher. He also has over 35 years of experience coaching at the high school, college, and really all the different levels of sports. And now he's, focus his energy on that consulting and recruiting side to help athletes get to that next level. Tommy has a lot of good content around recruiting. And I know for you guys listening, a lot of you guys struggle with how do I get recruited as an athlete? What should my social media look like? What should emailing like? What do I do to get recruited? A lot of you say, "Oh, I have talent, but I'm not getting recruited." So we're gonna get into all that kind of stuff today. But Tommy, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, Nick, thank you. Honored to be on and share information. It'd be tough to keep it in a half hour, but we'll do our best.
Yes, we'll do our best. Well, let's just start real quick with how you got into the like consulting and recruiting for athletes, helping them get to that next level.
Sure. I was coaching, and about 15 years ago, a friend that got me in, a guy named Tim Ryerson in North Carolina, had a company called Student Athlete World, and they kind of did stuff a little bit different. They had representatives that were more, let's put it this way, more consultants and guys, more like Jerry Maguire, so taking you through the recruiting thing. And, he'd seen a lot of my information and seen, posts about me coaching players and everything and sending them. And he got a hold of me and he's like, man, I'd love to have you come work for me and everything. So I had to get certified through the NCAA and, bought my territory. I started out in Western Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York, Maryland, and West Virginia. Did so well the first couple of years. He just said, you take over nationally and whoever you want, whoever contacts you or anything like that can do it. So, I mean, I was 5 times recruiting consultant of the year, putting a ton of people in. Some other people have come through there. Richie Schuler, Lewis Birch, great recruiting guys, and everything like that. So Tim's had some good people, and just went out on my own 2 years ago. And everything. So I've been in it, and I do boys and girls in all sports. The top 4 sports that I do are baseball, football, girls softball, and girls volleyball. But I've done cheerleaders, I've done bowlers, golfers, wrestlers, you name it.
Yeah. So then let's get right into the meat of it. So I know a lot of athletes are, they tell me like, yeah, I just need to get coaches to see me more, or I just like, I don't know how to get coaches to reach out to me. So, or not reach out to me, but get noticed. So what advice do you have for athletes who are just trying to get noticed by college programs?
Well, the first thing, and it's I'm going from stuff that we do straight like I tell my clients and my players. So many people think that, okay, well, I'm going to this big showcase and everything like that. And being a former college coach, I mean, I tell my clients, before you go to a showcase, let me know the coaches that are going to be there. I'm going to, if they haven't gotten your information, they will. Number one, if a coach doesn't have your information and you don't stand out in some way, you're never going to get looked at. I mean, it's a waste of time. I mean, if you look at a lot of showcases now, you'll see. I was just at one in Washington, PA. I just flew back to Pittsburgh. Guy had a great. Brian Shipley had a showcase. We had 189 kids, 100 colleges, MLB teams in there, and like I had clients in there. Every coach knew about them, so that their coaches are coming up to me while I'm there, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, I see see what you're saying. We really like 'em. But the biggest thing in getting discovered is you have to get your stuff to coaches, and then you have to be able to get in front of them for them to lay eyes on you, camp wise, this, that, and other. And I realized it's a tough call. There's a lot of emails that come out from the camp directors or something like that. I have all my kids. I'm like, okay, if you're getting requested to come for camp, shoot me a screenshot, and I'll take care of it and make sure everything. I usually know about it, and we'll be like, yeah, they know they're interested. Let's go with this one, or no, you know what? They haven't had any interest. If they haven't talked to you before this or talked to me, then it's kind of like wasting time. The other thing, that's so important, Nick, is to be honest with yourself. I mean, if you are a D3, D2 player, don't be heading to Clemson, don't be heading to Alabama, everything like. And I always tell people, you should be proud no matter what. Right now, it used to be 7. Now with the portal and everything, it's 5.3% of athletes go on to play in college. If you're one of that top 95, I don't care where you're playing, D1, D2, NAIA, Division 3, JUCO, go play. Go have fun with it. Give yourself that more, extra 4 years to see, okay, can I be 22 or 23 when they say it's done, or do I get to go on from there? I mean, playing, just going in and having an athletic network sets you up with so much things in life as far as business opportunities, jobs, everything like that. So I would say the biggest thing is to get your information out, and when you send it out, make sure that you send it out. Do not have mom or dad or somebody else. You can have coach or me. They're gonna like hearing from us. They do not want to hear from family members. They'll delete the emails.
And make sure your email is in, Hello Kitty or some random email.
The other thing, I mean, my kids and their profiles, people will be like, how do you get these kids committed? And I said, my kids have great profiles. Number one, they write their biography. I check it. And I'm like, if you're up there and you're misspelling words, and you just, if you can go through and it's flimsy, they'll toss it out. They'll be like, he didn't even take the time to sit there and do everything necessary to make me feel good about reading his stuff.
So what are some key things on social media profile, and how important is that social media profile for college coaches when they're, or for the athlete with coaches looking at it?
It's important. I will tell you what, I keep my kids off Facebook. I keep them off Instagram, Twitter or X, whichever you want to call it. I'm like, I will tell you what, that's a coach's, that's their means of communication other than a phone or emails. They'll get on you. Number one, promote yourself. Put all your videos on. I go on, I grab them, I repost them, I take them out, I send them in updates that I send on kids and everything like that. And the other thing is be positive. I mean, the stuff that you put on there, be this, be that. The other thing, put on your workouts. Show you lifting, putting the time in the weight room. Show you, out there, in the cages, getting swings and everything like that. The one important thing, if you don't throw 90, don't say that you throw 90. So many people, I'm going to tell you what, it's like, okay, he throws 90. And I go and I'm looking, and yeah, 84, 90 turns into 84 and 85. Okay,
Mhm.
now are you projecting that he can throw 90? But just, hey, say where you are. I mean, coaches want to hear straight, good, solid information.
Well, and make sure they can actually tell that it's you too. I feel like, like, I mean, this is more on the Instagram side than the Twitter side, but I feel like even on the Twitter side, it can be hard to tell with some athletes. But so many of them, like, I'm like, who are you? The only reason I'm guessing what sport you play is because you followed me after I spoke at this camp or something. Like, that's,
Sure,
yeah.
sure. Yeah, they got to know who you are. The other thing I tell them, hey, I give them a ten school wish list when I sign you, and I'm like, okay, guess what? Yeah, you're young. I'm going to send you here and everything like that. But they all know, because I'm like, this is where I think that you can play. This is where I think you'll project. And you do get some tweeners, and I tell them, I'm like, every coach is different. And I said, just like every recruiting process is different, I think kids get caught up in seeing other kids, you know, getting committed, and they're like, wow, I'm better than it. Well, it's what that school and that coach is looking for. They look
Mhm.
for certain types of people. University of Pittsburgh. I know they love you big bangers on the corners of their infield and their outfield and everything like that. You may be a great kid, but your game may be speed. So I mean, you know what? They're looking at that kid that can hit home runs. Yeah, you might have a better average, but they project him into sitting there contact and then hitting the more home runs.
Mm.
So
Uh,
you have to know what they're looking for and who you're selling yourself to.
Yeah. Know your value, know your worth. Like this is something
Sure.
too I talked to Don Williams, which podcast will release earlier than this one, so y'all can go and see that one too. But that one we focus more on the knowing who you are and knowing like, where you actually fall. And I know you already mentioned it is, if do you like be honest with yourself of that D2, D3 level versus trying to go for this like D1 school when you're not that level, especially if you're already junior, senior, and you have no room to like grow in that short amount of time. So I think it's important, like you said, to know that value. What about emails? Are we outdating emails nowadays, or is it still important for with coaches?
No, I mean it's still as important as a way to sit there and get in. Like I said, I think so many people have mom and dad, and believe me, and I talk to everybody. I'm like, please don't let him send emails. You can check them and everything, but there's nothing they hate worse than getting a third person email from the family and everything like that. Because I'm going to tell you what, you try not to be biased and all that, but they just won't look at it. They do. They take it, and it's like, okay, let the kid get a hold of me or whatever. That's
Hmm.
who I want to. I'm recruiting you. I tell the parents, I'm like, sit back and relax. Let us fill you in on stuff. With me, you get unlimited consultation. So you can call me 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to answer the phone or give you a call back and everything. I think that it's important that everybody's on the same page. But I always tell the parents, I'm like, you know what? Number one person is your son or daughter that they're recruiting. I said they'll feel you out on the visit. I said, do you get asked about? Oh, absolutely. What kind of family does he come from? This, that, and the other. And a lot of times, you know what? They usually have that figured out, and they're like, is this going to be a problem or anything like that? And people will think, well, do you actually tell? I have to be perfectly honest. I think people want me to, be a storyteller, but if I'm not honest, and coaches are going to sit there and be like, Tom, what are you sending us now? And everything like that. I mean, they have to know after years and years, 35 years of coaching and all the kids I've put in playing, and then the thousands over the past 15 years that have gone on and everything. I mean, they know that I'm sending them to what I call right fit schools.
Mhm.
Right fit schools, there's three things that I tell them. I'm like, has to work athletically, academically, and socially. If one of those things is wrong, it usually goes into one of the other two, and that's when you're unhappy, and that's when you're looking to sit there and make a move.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard that a few times today already, and that, from you and from like conversations. Yeah. What are some mistakes that athletes make with the emails? You mentioned the parents writing the emails, or I mean, writing the emails or sending the emails.
Wrong information, not taking the time to put out a great a great email with, hey, I'm interested and all that. Can you get back to me? I always have them ask questions in the email.
Hmm.
Don't just put information out. Ask questions. If you get texted, always leave it with a question. And they're like, why? I said, "Eh, coach is going to figure out, okay, this guy's trying to build a relationship. He's asking me questions. He's interested. He's genuine and everything like that. That I can't tell you how many times kids call me and they're like, "Hey, here's this email," and I'll read it, and I'll be like, "Yeah, yeah, hey, it's good. I mean, I like it and everything." And there's other ones I'm like, take some time. Think of reverse the role. If you're a coach and you saw this about yourself and all that, would you be interested? And they're like, hey, got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah, so I mean that's good. Like just those continued reminders of yeah, be honest with yourself, but also yeah, the relationships I think is one of those things that is so missed nowadays, and also when you ask questions, that keeps the conversation going. If you just send this whole email to them and then that's it, like what are they going to respond to? Thumbs up, cool, sounds good, or are they actually like going to engage with you a little bit more? So have those. I love the question piece
Exactly.
because yeah, it's just build that, like you said, build that relationship.
It's just like when my kids go to camps or showcases, I'm like, go out, have fun, play loose, play hard, be the most hustle kid there. You're leading the pack, going from one place to the other. When you pass a coach, stop, introduce yourself. Hey, coach, thank you for coming out here. This is my name and all with where I am and why I play. You know, I appreciate you guys taking the time to have us out here and teach us.
Yeah, yeah. So, what are some other things that you guys with Total Sports Recruiting do to help athletes through this process? Like, I know you mentioned the consulting, talk about emails and stuff. Like, what's kind of some of the processes that you go through with them?
Oh well, I mean it all depends, Nick. I mean, ideally, I like to get kids that are freshmen or sophomores because, and you'll have other people say, well, they're not allowed to talk to them. Well, they can get information on them. I have a lot of kids right now that it's so funny. Well, they can't talk to them. Well, it's amazing. They have information on them. Um, I know where they stand with people. I'm not saying that they're contacting kids or anything like that, but they know where they're standing. And the whole thing is, if I'm starting that early, I mean, I just get a thing back from the coaches. Yeah, we like him. He's on the radar and everything like that. And that's not offering or anything else like that.
Yeah.
So the big things that we do are being able to guide you through the process, tell you how to do things. We promote, we market, market. If I showed you the amount of emails and camp invites and this and updates and everything that I probably do over 10,000 a week easy. Just trying to sit there and keep everything going. It's fun. The other thing is in doing that, while parents and kids, they might have a school that they want to go to, but a lot of times it comes down to finances, and they get a better offer. They can't do it, but I call up the school and I'm like, hey, you know something? Hey, Tom you're his number one choice. But as well as I do, and I know that you guys want him. Is there anything that you can do? Because there are schools offering 8 to 10 grand more a year and everything like that. So, was that your final offer, or can you come up? And it's not about matching it, but it's about getting the most dollars out there for you to go to school. The college coaches are going to laugh, but I'm going to tell you what, they know they will try to get you for as, if you're a big stud, they're going to make an offer. Everybody else, they're going to leave a little negotiating room in there and everything like that. So it's tough in knowing how to handle, but I've made those calls many, many times. The other thing is getting invites to, national events and everything. It's tough. I think people pay way, way, way too much to travel all around the country and everything else. If you can play and you can get video and you can get in front of those coaches, why do you go to Atlanta and Hoover and all? I'm going to go be discovered down there. No, you're not. Though those guys show up, much as I was going to say, they're there, and there may be 30 coaches there. And they're like, wow, look at them all out here. You know who those 30 coaches are all looking at? The same 10 kids. They all know who they are. They get there, and they're like, what do you think of Tommy Davis? So what do where do you have him and everything like that? That's how it is. People think it's a way to be discovered. No, it's a way to sit there and bring 364 teams in and make $6 million. I mean, it's a great thing. The coaches love it. The big boys do come, so they are going to see. I had a guy one time that was like, oh, okay, well, you know what? We're going to make the PG of the North, like up in Pittsburgh. And I looked at him. I said, you might as well stop right there. I said, they're so well taken care of down there. They will not come to Pittsburgh when they can stay right in their own backyard and sit there and see every player they need to. So the big thing that we do is we get you out there nationwide. This is a mistake I think kids make. So they want to stay in a 3-hour area. I don't know if it's kid, I don't know if it's mom, dad, whatever. It's usually a little different every time with who. I'm like, guys, you're taking 98.9% of the opportunities away from you. Be willing to go out there. I mean, I will tell you one thing. When I moved from Pittsburgh down here to Texas, Nick, I can't tell you how many Midwest and East Coast coaches are like, start sending us those Texas kids. We know that they can play. We know there's an overabundance of them, and that they can't all stay in the state and everything else like this. Yeah. So, I mean, this is my big thing, Texas. I mean, the country is open for you. They have money to spend like everybody else, and they know that there's great baseball here. They love to establish pipelines.
So then with this whole recruiting process, with that journey, like what are some key pieces of that? And then, how early should they start preparing these things?
I would say, freshman and sophomore years, start sending emails, set up your Twitter account with your highlights and all that. Start following coaches, start posting your stuff. I mean, that's all that the more information and the more baseline that the coaches can see you at. I'd love to share a picture with you on here, but I have no way of doing it right now. I had a football kid in West Virginia that I had since he was in seventh grade. Very, very good. I had an older kid that was, in the blue gray national all-star game, 6'5", 347-pound tackle who could play and did well. And so I signed this kid. Well, this kid listens so well. So I took a picture of him in seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And all it did was show his body transformation, how we got him to gain weight. And then his junior and senior year, okay, now we're going for that lean muscle mass and that everything else like that. And it was funny at the beginning of his senior year, he had lots of interest. I sent out like probably 75 emails with just that picture and 2 words underneath, any questions. And I'm going to tell you what, I heard back from like 30 coaches in the next hour. They're like, wow, that's unreal. I mean, if you can't see how hard this kid has worked, plus he was a beast on the field. And I mean, that whole thing right there, it's probably the best thing, the best one that I've done like that, transformation, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, you want to start getting out there. I always will be like, okay, let me get you in one showcase. Okay, let's go out there. Let's see how they're run. You have to go get an experienced run, and I'm going to tell you what, they usually do very good and everything like that. And the coaches are like, hey, you know what? I liked what I saw. We'll keep them on there for when it's time to sit there and do stuff. So then you go into, sophomore, after your sophomore year, if you want to start, going to more showcase events, events that, we pick out that are like, okay, these are the right ones for you. I have smart kids. I use Head First honor roll camps that are fabulous. They're in Long Island, New York, Fairfax, Virginia. They bring in, it's one of the most expensive, but it's probably one of the best baseball showcases there is. These guys actually will have like a job fair to where they put all the tables down. Kids can come up and talk to any coach that's there. Wow. But it's all, big time Division III, Division II, D1, Duke, Stanford, all kind of good, schools like that are there. And it's a great way to be seen. If you want to go, Ivy League, everything, they're all there. So, here you go. Here's your chance. Go put on a show, get to play 2 games. Plus, you get to actually walk up, talk, introduce yourself, sell yourself right to the coaches and their staff right there.
Yeah, but be careful of the other. I feel like one thing I hear a lot is a lot of the money grab camps where it's like certain camps where, especially like I think you mentioned earlier, is not like if a certain school is doing a camp and none of those schools are necessarily the ones that you're looking at, like it may not be worth.
You don't want to go to that one. Yep, and I always tell my client, I'm like, shoot me a screenshot of everything that you get, and then we'll look at it, and if we have to decipher and everything, the interest and all that. But I'm going to tell you what, I save my clients tons of money from going all over the place like that, because people will do it. Yes. It's crazy.
Yeah, you have to put it through that little sifter, that little filter to make sure it's appropriate, or
So we want to get that, and then as you get into junior, you start wanting to. Okay, let's set up visits. Let's narrow our choices down. Okay, that was the old way. Right now, recruiting is so slow. There, I still there's every day there's people calling me. Tom, I need 24s, and they know all of my 24s are committed. All my transfer portal kids, everything like that, they're all committed. But they call because they know I know kids all over the nation. So I mean, I will. I mean, I'll get a hold of this kid and I'll be like, hey, I have this school, that's over in North Carolina that's looking that they have money. They're interested in what you have. You might be a good fit. Get in touch with them,
Hmm.
and that's the whole thing. I mean, I will do that for you. You have to take advantage. If you have somebody that's willing to help you like that and and all that, then I mean, you have to take advantage of it.
Yeah. And I mean, I do want to highlight though, you talked about before that, like really emphasizing if you're serious about playing your sport at the next level, then address these things your freshman, sophomore years. This is one of the things where, I mean, even with nutrition, I have guys who, they want to go D1 or they want to do some of these bigger schools, but I end up working with them their senior year. And it's like, well, it's kind of hard to like get you. I mean, yes, we make some good progress, but those schools have kind of already looked past you, and so you're kind of in that position of like, oh hey, like maybe JUCO and then you can go on. But if you're really serious about it, like get ahead of it. Do it freshman, sophomore years. Actually, I had a parent ask me about like when's a good time to get into the nutrition piece, and I'm like, freshman, sophomore years usually the best years. Eighth grade could still work, but usually that freshman, sophomore, you're kind of on that another level. Junior, senior, it's kind of like you're pushing the envelope a little bit, where it's like you're almost in a rush in some ways.
What you do is you make it more of a task to them than a good habit.
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes.
It's like, okay, now I have stress behind it and trying to do it. Whereas if you started early and it's a good habit, then you're going to follow it and keep looking to do better. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those young athletes who want to play in college, what steps should they be taking to make that dream a reality, like right now? Like even, I mean, even if you want to reference like middle schoolers, if there's anything that they could do, or like you said, like the 9 10.
You know what? I'm just going to keep it to the high school because that's your timeline. There are I actually have some kids that are 12 and 13 that people are like drooling over and everything like right now. But you know, my big thing to them is you know what? Be happy, enjoy your plan and everything. The big things is that put all your work in. You're only going to go through this one time, and it's just like I think I talked to you. I have a 24-hour rule. Kids love to procrastinate, and they'll get contacted on a Monday. Okay, well, don't worry. This weekend, when I have some time, I'll get back to coach. Coaches moved on. They love to see instant gratification, which is when they send you something, they want to hear back from you real quick and everything. It's the same as the kids. The kids will send coach something and they're like, Tom, it's been 2 days. And I'm like, you realize they're in season right now. There are some reasons with them. But I always tell my kids, like, if they text you, you text them back within 24 hours. If they call you, you call them back. If they email you, you email them back. Uh, and everything. And like I said, you're always asking that question to end with everything because number one, you want them to answer. So you're giving them something to answer. They should get back,
Mm.
and they realize that. But it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, most of the time at that time, the kid is gung ho. The parents are absolute gung ho. Oh yeah, well he can play and this, that, and the other, and all that. And even as freshmen, and well, he didn't make varsity and all that. I said, you realize you play at one of the best 6A schools. There's people ahead of you. I said, that doesn't matter. I said, you still have skills and everything like that. I said, people still watch. They know where you are. They're not judging you when you're a freshman as a senior. They're judging you here, and they're projecting out, wow, okay, well, if he keeps going like this, and like Tom is saying, yeah, I can really project him to be like that. But the main thing is that if you're going to be committed, be committed. And like I said, my other thing, don't narrow your choices. I mean, I always tell my kids, you know who does better? The kids going 3 hours or less to school, or the kids going out on their own, or the kids going out on their own and have to do stuff for themselves. They always do better than to have somebody there, oh, well, come home this weekend, this meal, that, go out, enjoy your friends, get learn life and learn how to be responsible for yourself.
Hmm.
That's a big thing. But the other thing is, like I said, I mean, there's so many schools out there, and there's so many kids that, well, I didn't get into these three, so I'm not going to play. And you should be playing. You should be playing somewhere, but you know what? You just didn't want to sit there and travel 3 states over to a really good program that their coach is like, man, I really want you here. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I think those things are great starters. Make sure you're committed. Put your work in. Do your emails. I mean, if you're working with me, you're going to be checking in with me, and hey, what should I do? What should I do? Or I've gotten I've found some interest from doing some research, and I'm like, hey, email them, get a hold of them, follow them on Twitter, see if they follow you back, do a message. Little things turn into big things, and then if you do all the little things, then you don't have those big things that are coming to keep you down.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's another reason to start early is build those, just like with nutrition, build those habits, build those things. Cause once it's done, it's done. Like, yeah, maybe you'll have to refine things later on, but say your Twitter profile, if you have it established, you build it out, you put your year, your high school, all that stuff on there, and then your GPA, you put all that on there, it's done. You don't have to think about that anymore. So it's just like check off those boxes, so that you can keep moving forward.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Any last things you want to leave the audience with, or I know you just covered a few big ones there.
No, I know that, people will say with recruiting right now, I will tell you one thing, it is slowed down. Don't, I know kids get frustrated and everything. It's like the 25s. Well, why haven't I? Guys, this is so slow right now. There's people that haven't even started, Division Ones that haven't even gotten everything down. And people will say, "Oh, well, Tom, they have this and they have that." They're in the portal, so nothing they do will be, no Division 1 thing will be set until when they get back at school. They'll pick up a kid 3 days before school starts and get them in and everything like that. So just let it play out. I know that you want to get frustrated and everything, but I'm just going to tell you what, having somebody that's there and advocates and fights for you and actually tells you, this is where I think that you'll fit in. I'm not trying to rain on your dream. I mean, I'll tell you what, just last night I sat there and posted, I don't know how many Division 2, Division 3, NAIA kids getting drafted. Don't think that just because I'm not at LSU or Mississippi State or Texas
Mm.
or Tennessee, guess what? if you can play and you put up the numbers and you have some skills, they'll be there. Believe me.
Like that. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's especially true with baseball. I know it's a little bit trickier with certain, but even when you look at football, basketball, whatever, you do see, smaller time D1, D2, D3, all those that still end up in the NBA and the NFL and all these major leagues. And so, yeah, definitely
Well,
no.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you, I think you know this, Nick. I mean, football wise, the backup quarterback for the Chicago Bears, Tyson Bagent, D2 Shepherd College in West Virginia, and the kid set every record. I am going to tell you what, when I saw him his junior year, I looked at his dad. And his dad is quite the character, Travis. He's a heavyweight arm wrestling champion of the world, and I mean, what a great family and everything. But the whole thing. I think that there was way too much. Okay, well, you know, Shepard could be the thing, and he's going to go in there and he's going to start, and which he did, and the kid wound up breaking every NCAA record. But here's a Division II kid, and all at once he's down there at all these camps, the Senior Bowls, and making good money and playing for the Chicago Bears. So it happens. It happens. It happens everywhere. Believe me.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, what's the easiest way for athletes or parents to get in touch with you and Total Sports Recruiting?
Go to my website, which is www.totalsportsrecruiting.com. It has all the contact information on there. It has all the things we do. We do, the recruiting package for high school. We do transfer portal packages, and then a lot of my kids, you'd be amazed, they don't find somewhere to play in the summer for summer collegiate. So I end up placing them all over the country. So, the one thing is, if you are a recruiting client of mine, you get those. If you had to transfer, it's free. If you need to go to a summer collegiate league, that's for free. That comes with that. If you're not, then it's a way smaller charge. But we help so many kids that way too. But yeah, definitely love to hear from people. We do kids all over the nation. Like I said, right now I've done kids in 37 states, so I do them all over.
Yeah,
boys and girls.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll attach your website and your social media because I also know you're posting on there as well, and so we'll attach those in the show notes. So check the little caption below, guys, as you're listening. But again, Tom, thanks so much for hopping on, sharing this knowledge. I know that a lot of you athletes out there just y'all don't know how to do the profile or the email or just the whole process, and so take advantage, number one, of what you learned today. And if you need that help and you have the resources, go connect with Tommy. And until next time, keep striving for greatness.